Hello, StarCraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload. This time, it is a series between Neeb and Nerchio, starting here on Newkirk Precinct. This is from WESG 2016 Finals, and let's get right on into it. In the bottom right side of the map, we have the Blue Zerg player hailing from Poland, and the team of Euronics Gaming, it is the Blue Zerg player Nerchio. And in the bottom left side of the map, we have the Red Protoss player from America, and representing Ting, it is Neeb. Alright, so a PVZ for you guys. Again, a best of 5 series, as you can see from this top right. Again, fixed by somebody with a blizzard.net email address. No, blizzard.com email address. Maybe that's a clue. Anyway, it looks like Neeb is going to go ahead and block Nerchio's expansion. And Nerchio is a very, very accomplished Zerg player. Very, very solid in his decisions and macro and micro. And he expanded here to avoid the probe block by Neeb. Very smart. Neeb is a younger up-and-coming player, which means he's a fan favorite of all Protoss everywhere. Very strong and solid as well. So this should be a pretty darn interesting best of 5. Again, welcome aboard. So glad to have you here. This is Falcon Paladin. I do 2 casts of Into the Void, or Legacy of the Void, rather, every single day of the week. 7 days a week. You will not miss one. Ask around. Ask my subscribers. Do I miss days, you guys? I do not miss days. Don't miss days. In almost 2 years now, I haven't missed a day. So welcome. So glad to have you. And let's get into calling this game. All right. So very standard opening here from Neeb. You have the gateway first on the low ground here, kind of starting to wall off this natural expansion. He does have a Nexus coming up, Cybernetics Core as well, and second gas now on the way. For him, Extractor Pool, follow up to the hatch first out of Nerchio, and still with the probe here from Neeb. He's like, where is that third hatch? Why isn't there a third hatch? The answer is because the spawning pool is not done yet, and he doesn't really want to have to go out there with a single drone because it's easily blockable by Neeb, at least for a while. But Nerchio is sending a drone, 3 drones out. Oh, he's just transferring them over to this base. I was like, is he quadruple expanding? He wasn't. He wasn't throwing down like 4 hatcheries at the same time, but just harvesting here from his natural. A bit of a Maynard transfer there, which is what we used to call it back in the day. Back in the late 90s, it was called a Maynard transfer after the player Maynard, who now does commentating for the most part. Adept. Just about to complete here for Neeb. Will he send her out? I have to imagine, yeah, she's got to go out. She's not here for base defense. She can't hold this line. There's a giant gap in this wall. We do have a Mothership Core coming in from Neeb. Nerchio's getting a Queen. There goes popping the Queen to the natural. Queen is here at the main as well. How are you going to deal with this Adept? Got 4 Lings and a Queen here. Soul Overlord does scout the presence of the Adept just outside that natural base. And Queen getting shots off immediately. Lings following the shade. This is the teamwork right now. Queen going to get some damage off. There's the transfer. Lings are right on top of the Adept as soon as she shows up. And really, slow Lings are terrible against Adepts because slow Lings are terrible against pretty much everything, as it turns out. Adepts trying to find more stuff to do. Lings are sacrificing themselves, but they're saving drones, which is really what they're here for when you get right down to it. I mean, Ling lives are not super important, as it turns out. Robotics Facility coming in here from Neeb, and the Adept gets to take it down before she can psionic transfer out of there. That is a bummer for her. Gateway coming in for Neeb to finish that wall off, and a pylon. Worried about the Lings that are coming up because they are here and they are speedy, but Mothership Core is enough to shoo them away. They don't even really try to get up that ramp at all. Nerchio has taking a hatch at his natural base location, so we'll start calling that his natural, and the one to the left of that his third, just because I will get so confused if I try to keep the naming conventions weird on these bases. Things get crazy in these matches. And sometimes I can get a little mixed up, as you may know. Dark Shrine coming in for Neeb. He's going Dark Templar or Archon. He does have a Warp Prism, so it's probably a Warp Prism Archon follow-up here. And if you haven't been watching my channel, watching the Into the Void series, no, what was it? What was the game? It was a GM level game, actually, with Indy versus Minato from, I want to say, a couple of weeks ago, maybe 10 days ago now. But yeah, it is Indy versus Minato. Actually, you know what? Just a couple days ago. But yeah, there's some amazing Warp Prism Archon micro in that game. I'm not going to spoil anything else, but just watch it for that. Just watch it for that. It's gorgeous. Third Nexus coming up here from Neeb. Ling scouts that out. Tries to get up the ramp. Now there's an Adept holding the line. And this third base is very hard to hold, but it is close. It is close to home for Neeb, so he's probably counting on that. because the third up here to the top of the natural base, above the natural base, is kind of harder to, or I guess just farther away is what it is. Has some pretty big ramps as well, but for some reason doesn't feel as vulnerable. Neeb is thought about warping in some DTs here on this base to the left across the gap from Nerchio's main, moving just a tiny bit, relocating that warp prism, and it's time to warp them in. Darkstride now finishing immediate warping. Wow, Neeb. Great timing on that, paying attention to that. Very, very hardcore. Double Archons coming on in. Warp prism here as well. What is Nerchio going to do to deal with this? He's got a Spore Crawler on the very left of his main base. Spore Crawler on the bottom side of his third base as well. So if nothing else, this Warp Prism should be taking some shots. Trying to take out this Queen Archons. No good micro, getting him out of there. Roaches, bam, forcing a pickup and a liftoff by that Warp Prism of those Archons. They might have gotten a couple kills there, but again, fairly well held by Nerchio here so far in game number 1. Third Nexus, whoop, popping right on in for the Neeb. Sentries in production as well, warping in, and a first Forge on the way for our Protoss player. Does he have any upgrades yet? He does not have any upgrades yet. None to speak of as far as attacks and shields and armor. Fourth base up for Nerchio, just to the north of his natural, traditional place for a fourth base as well. And it's just looking like a lot of Roach Queen here out of our Zerg player. Hydralisk Den on the way. Again, we still have this Warp Prism trying to shift around and find places to land these Archons and get some kills off. Going after this mineral line. Nope, drones running for their lives on that one. Queens really want to kill that Warp Prism, but getting focused down by the Archons, as they recognize the Queens are their biggest threat, because once this Warp Prism is dead, the Archons are dead. Landing here at the fourth base, going to try to take down this hatchery. Do they have enough DPS to take down a hatchery? Maybe. Maybe they do. Maybe to kill it before it finishes building on in here. Adepts warping in. This Warp Prism, multifunctional. Warping in Adepts. They're going to drop the Archon here as well. No. Leaving the Adepts to fend for themselves. Hey, guys, go maybe try to kill that building. We're not good at killing buildings, though. Well, go give it a shot anyway, says the Protoss Commander Neeb. Templar Archives coming in for the Protoss, and Immortal production has begun as well. Adepts trying to get here into this natural mineral line, and they do, but they die immediately. I don't think they killed a single drone there. Archons here at the third base. Again, Hydras, Roaches showing up. Those Hydras on creep are so scary for that Warp Prism. They are fast, they have long range, they can hit hard. Killing a few of these creep tumors is Neeb as well. Just trying to make sure that the vision and available speed of the Zerg player is not absolutely nutso. Adepts trying to warp on into this natural base, going after some more drones. I mean, they got a couple of kills here. I'm just not sure how super effective this has been. This Roach Hydra composition really, really good against the Adepts. The Roach is taking the damage. The Hydra is doing most of the damage. It's good teamwork by those guys. Templar on the way in here from Neeb. Any sign of a fourth base from the Protoss player yet? I don't see one. But definitely going Immortal. Definitely have the +1 attack completed for his ground units. Warp Prism trying to sneak on into this main base, but guess what? There are like 10 Hydras here. Get out! Run! He does. He runs before losing that unnecessarily because he is smart that way. These guys have speed. No, still no speed. These are still Soul Overlords, as it turns out. So fourth Nexus is now on the way from Neeb to the north of his natural base. Got a more Immortal production. Got, what do we got? Speed on the way for the Overlords. Nerchio heard me and was like, yo, oh no, Warp Prism! Warp Prism flies over some Hydras in the middle of the map out of nowhere and gets completely taken out there. That hurts. That hurts for Neeb. So it's 172 to 148 total supply. I feel like Nerchio has done a very admirable job at rebuffing every attempt at harassment that Neeb has attempted here in game number 1 so far. He is, he's going to go for, like, trying to take down that fourth base, but Guardian Shield is up on this army with Archons and Immortals and Sentries, and not a good concave here by Nerchio, just more splitting up his units more than anything else. Zealots with Charge doing a lot of damage here at the same time. Zealots with Archons and Immortals chasing away the rest of Nerchio's army there. So Nerchio kind of let himself get split up there for a second. It looked like he would get that fourth base, but no, 'twas not to be. These Hydras are running for their lives. They have +1 attack on them, but they don't want to deal with this many Zealots, especially considering they have Charge. Stargate on the way from Neeb, and still continuing to run on in here are these Zealots. They're charging in and just getting swipes off on the Roaches and the Hydras. Banelings morphing in for Nerchio. I don't know if the Banelings are going to be enough. Baneling speed is on the way, but not quite done yet. Nerchio is watching Neeb kind of dance around the edges of his creep right now. Archon +2 attack about to complete here for Neeb. I think he's waiting for +2 before moving in. No, he's not going to wait. Moving in anyway. Taking down creep tumors, trying to kill this queen. A lot of Hydras. Banelings, can they get hits on? Oh, they get big-time hits all over those Zealots, weakening them immensely. Ling's doing a lot more damage now. Pretty good force fields, keeping those Hydras out of the battle for a couple of seconds, allowing Neeb the time to retreat. Meanwhile, big charge Zealot attack here with +2 attack, going after that 4th base from Nerchio. Can he save it with some Hydras and some Spine Crawlers? He might be able to here. It's going to be very, very close indeed, and the hatchery does. Oh, it lives. It lives with 19 hit points. Oh, Nerchio, that was a close one. That was a super mega close one here. So it's 4 base to 4 base, which is a place Neeb is very comfortable being. He's got Storm coming up. I just feel like Protoss, when they get Storm, good things happen for them. Good things happen for them. A lot of Banelings coming in, though. It is 173 to 164 total supply. Nerchio has that lead, but just barely. Not a giant lead by any means. He's coming up trying to threaten that 4th base. Neeb trying to take a 5th base right where the Zerg army happens to be at this moment in time. And here we go, trying to get some shots off. Splitting up his units a little bit here. Is that intentional, or I don't actually know. Anyway, 4th base here in trouble. A lot of Hydras with +2 attack. Attacking there. Coming down are a lot of Banelings getting some big-time splashes off there. Hydralisks doing a ton of damage from the back. Immortals are pretty much unsupported. Templar coming in. They don't have enough energy for Storm quite yet. Mothership Core, there are a couple Storms. There they are. Exactly what you need. Storming some Lings, but no. Too many Hydras remaining here. I don't know if this is going to be enough. Going to be enough for Neeb to hold on the Hydras. There aren't that many of them. There's not a lot for Neeb here either. No, he is actually forced to retreat. Forced to pull back just a little bit, but guess what? There are Lurker Den morphing in, a bunch of Lings coming in, +2. No, just kidding. No upgrades on those Lings. A lot of Banelings coming in at the same time. They are morphing. They are morphing in, and again, Hydra is showing up at this 3rd base. A lot of Zealots trying to do it here. Taking some hits from Banelings, though. Archons, again, good at dealing damage, but no, that's it. A good game out of Neeb. Neeb is defeated, and Nerchio is victorious here in game number 1. Whew, that was close. That was a close one. Ladies and gentlemen, hard fought. Game number 1 there. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what we get in game number 2 coming up in just a second. Protoss fans, do not despair. This series is far from over. Far from over. And we'll be right back. Welcome back, StarCraft fans, to Falcon Paladin's Best of 5 cast from the WESG 2016 Finals between Nerchio and Neeb. This is Game 2 here on Whirlwind, the Ladder Edition. In the top left side of the map, we have the red Zerg player. It is Nerchio from Poland, Euronics Gaming, and currently up 1-0 on his opponent Neeb. And in the bottom right side of the map, the blue Protoss player, currently down 0-1 to that same Zerg we just mentioned. It is Neeb from the United States of America and representing Ting. So here we go. Again, a PvZ for you. No surprise, because game 1 was also PvZ. I don't think anybody plays, like, switches races in professional tournaments. Now that I mention it, though, that there is something tickling the back of my mind that says somebody would switch up what race they were playing, like in the middle of a best of 5, best of 7 series. That was a while ago, though. This might have been like Wings of Liberty stuff. Haven't seen it so much in Legacy of the Void, but maybe there is somebody still doing it. I'm just not aware. Possibly it is. I am just not aware. Nerchio going for that hatch, or the hatch first. Yep, hatch first into extractor, into pool, as you can do against Protoss in Legacy of the Void. It just is so hard to cannon right now as Protoss, especially early. Just because your opponent has so many workers at the beginning, they can spare a couple to knock down cannons, then get that hatch down, the extractor, the pool out a lot more quickly than they used to be able to, and so they have Lings out more quickly. It's not a good spot for those of you who enjoyed cannon rushing as Protoss back in Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm. Probe is moving out for Neeb. He does like scouting with that probe. Showtime is another Protoss that enjoys doing that, and I'm such a fan. I am such a fan of that strategy. Sloverlords moving in for Nerchio to the right and to the bottom to see what they can see. They will not find any Protoss, but by process of elimination, they will know where Neeb is as soon as they get to those bases and see nothing. Spawning pool just about to pop here for Nerchio. Should be getting speed momentarily. Just waiting on that gas. His 92. He'll get to 100 in a couple seconds. No big worries. No big worries there. Cybernetics core coming up. Neeb is actually walling off at the top of his ramp into his main base. This really leaves his natural open to a lot of harassment and harassment, depending on where you're from Nerchio. Gonna try to move on in, possibly, and take this Nexus down. I mean, this is weird. I don't know why he's not walling this off. If he's worried about early harassment, I feel like he should be worried about early harassment at his Nexus as well. But nope, no concerns from our Protoss player. He is just fine and dandy. Thank you for asking. Stargate coming up for Neeb could be an Oracle. Could, in fact, be an Oracle, which we will name, if that's what it is. Slowlings, 4 of them, holding the center zone like a watchtower. Single Adept coming in. Lings say, see ya. We're not going to try to kill you because we don't have speed and we are terrible. We're good for scouting, I guess, but otherwise poop. That's what I say to slow Lings. Lings running on up. Oh, another Adept is defending here at the natural base. Darn it. Say to Lings, we were hoping that Neeb would forget to make another one. Stargate just about to complete. Third hatch coming up for Nerchio back home as well, just to the right of his natural base. And what is the Stargate going to produce? It is an Oracle! All right, so this Oracle's name is Emma Frost. Emma Frost is an X-Man. She is a mutant. Initially, she was a villain, which you may have remembered from, was it X-Men First Class, where she first appeared in the modern-day X-Men series, played by January Jones. A fairly stiff and boring performance out of January Jones, if we can tell the truth here with Falcon Paladin. But yes, Emma Frost does have super great telepathic powers, mind control, memory alteration, and astral projection, which is... Memory alteration is a terrifying thing. It is a terrifying power. It really is. I mean, it's in the Harry Potter universe as well, as we know. I think it's bad news. Anyway, Lings are trying to harass up here. Emma Frost, the Oracle, is now moving out across the map. Initially, she's a bad person, but eventually she turns good, I suppose, is how you look at it. She can also turn her entire body into diamonds, or a diamond-hardened thing, where she's very, very hard to kill and very strong as well. So she's kind of got the best of both worlds going, mind powers and, like, strength, physical strength powers. Trying to find... Ooh, almost got that drone there, but the drone did turn itself into a Spore Crawler. Spore Crawler in production. Actually finished here at the natural base. Queen stabbing away at Emma Frost. Emma Frost, you might have come in too late to really make a difference. No, drone kill! Woohoo! Free drone kill for Emma Frost. Excellently well done as well. And Neeba's trying to take a third Nexus, but there's a burrowed Zergling here. He tries again. Maybe it'll work this time. Maybe that was just a glitch in the game that doesn't allow me build my Nexus here. Nope. Revelation abilities, perhaps? Revelation abilities. Emma Frost lends her revelation abilities to kill the Ling and save the construction of that third Nexus. Has a single Phoenix out as well, doesn't he? But just one. Just the one. Just the one. A resonating glaze being researched by Neeb. I assume that's because we will be seeing quite a few more Adepts, because otherwise, why get that upgrade? That increases the attack speed of Adepts by 45%. Can't think of a good reason to do it. In all particular truthiness. Drop Lord. Is that a Drop Lord? That is a Drop Lord coming in. Yeah, coming in from Nerchio. I mean, the Drop Lord's way back here. At his third base. Emma Frost still trying to get some murdery things off here. And actually might have a bit of a window here at the main base here. The Queen just popped out, though. The Overlord does get speed. Overlord's moving out with 4 Queens inside. Banelings here morphing in to the left of the natural base of Neeb. I think the Phoenix scouted that. Might have seen what is up there. Emma Frost heading on back home, recognizing there is an attack imminent from the Zerg player. What do I do? How do I help? How do I help my Protoss friends? Phoenix has 2 kills, 2 Overlord kills. There's the second one. Baneling bust here, getting right on up, and force fields come up a little bit late. Baneling's trying to crash on something, doing some damage there. Lings and Queens here at the third base of Neeb. Don't see that every day. The Queens going after that Mothership Core, trying to kill the pylons that are Photon Overcharge, doing a great job of that, and the third base by Neeb is forfeit. I don't think there's any way that Neeb can save this thing. We do have Banelings heading back home. I don't know what that's about. I guess there's a Warp Prism heading up, but there are a bunch of Lings on the ground, hopefully to deal with that for Nerchio. And look at this, the Queens by themselves trying to deal with all of these Adepts with resonating glaives. The Queens, nope, sorry, say the Lings, you're on your own. Queens are all dead, but third base is gone. Keep in mind, the third base is gone. We're looking at 2 base versus 3 base right now. 54 to 42 Harvesters. Yes, Nerchio is up, but that does not matter much, as it turns out. If you're only on 2 base and have that many workers, you're going to be oversaturated, is what it is. Oversaturated at the natural, just about saturated perfectly here at the main base. Third Nexus replacement is coming up for Neeb, but that was an interesting attack out of Nerchio. Did quite a bit of damage. This Warp Prism, has it done anything Not really. Kind of getting rebuffed by queens and lings and all that stuff. Ling run by Nerchio. Oh, no. This is every Protoss's worst nightmare. Lings getting inside your natural mineral line, getting inside your main mineral line, burrowing some lings in each of these mineral lines as well, at least forcing Neeb to use detection to find them. But that's 5 dead probes, which is something Neeb did not want to have to deal with. Not want to have to deal with here. Lings coming into third base as well. They catch a couple sentries and an immortal. Oh no, and an immortal completely unprotected here. Can they take down the immortal? Adepts trying to save it, and no, they do save it. They save the immortal. 39 hit points to his name. Thank you, Adept friends. Thank you, Emma Frost in the sky, who has 7 kills now. Most of those, I imagine, are lings, but still, kills are kills. And Nerchio is going for this Ling Queen Baneling strategy, which, I mean, I don't know, seems to be working so far. Resources lost about 3,900 for the Zerg player, about 2,600 for the Protoss. But still, killing a base counts for a lot. Counts for a whole lot. Did he get those burrowed lings? He's got a couple burrowed lings here in this natural mineral line. But there's an Adept sitting right on top of that. I don't know if that's going to happen. Drop Lord with speed moving out. 2 banelings and 4 lings inside his pouches. I assume that's how they do this, is with pouches, or they just kind of suck them up onto the inside, which is gross, which is actually really disgusting to think about. Zerg is gross, you guys. I main Zerg. I like Zerg. I like their play style. It's what I do, but thinking about that, disgusting. Emma Frost killing banelings off creep. 10 kills. She is an instructor. Let's make it 11. Making those banelings explode because they don't have speed. They can't run very fast, as it turns out. Here comes some baneling rain here on the main base. And get out of there. Run, run, probes, run. And they do. They run very nicely. Lings landing to try to get rid of the stalkers that are trying to kill the Drop Lord, and they do, but the banelings explode mostly harmlessly. Meanwhile, a big-time attack coming up here to this third base. Adepts rolling in. Stalker support here as well, but that is so many Adepts. That is 37 Adepts trying to do some baneling rain to defend here as well. Is it going to be enough? Great splits on the Adepts, though. I don't think Nerchio can handle this. Psionic Transfer being used on some of the Adepts, most of them standing here. Immortal with 14 kills, doing work against these defensive roaches. The lair is here. The lair is here at the third base for Nerchio. Why? Why is it here? I don't know. A couple Adepts at the natural base do get cleaned up, but I really feel like this lair is going to die. The Immortal and the Stalker is doing most of the DPS of this building, but 14 kills on that Immortal. A lot of dead drones at the same time. 39 to 54 total harvesters, and suddenly it is 3 base to 3 base. Nerchio is desperately making things roaches, to be exact. More Adepts coming up from Neeb. A bit of a Ling run by here at the third base. Neeb defending with Adepts. Again, Resonating Glaives, really good. Really, really good upgrade. You should get those if you are Protoss. No Immortal, don't die. 17 kills. Stalkers, Adepts coming on up. Defending with a bunch of Queens here is Nerchio. Can he get it? Can he chase them away? Some Ravagers here throwing on Corrosive Biles, exploding harmlessly on the ground. A fourth base here did complete just a few minutes ago, but it's going to die at the same time because there's really nothing to defend it. Some Queens might come up and try to save it, but it seems like a futile effort as the fourth base is possibly going to fall here. Corrosive Biles landing on the Protoss army. Banelings rolling on in. Guardian Shield coming on up. Immortal still alive. 19 kills, but only 13 hit points remaining. Brewlings coming in from the exploded fourth base, and Adepts getting right on top of these Ravagers. Right on top of the Ravagers. Immortal up to 20 kills. Corrosive Biles landing on top of the huge pack of Adepts right there, and can the Queens hang on? That's pretty much all that is left here. Are some Queens. Roaches gone. Lings running in piece by piece. Not going to be enough, and that is it. A good game out of Nerchio. Nerchio is defeated, and Neeb is victorious here in game number 2. Neeb ties it up 1-1. Moving into game number 3, just, wow, that counterattack came out of nowhere from Neeb. He was defending against Ling run-bys, Ling drops, Baneling rain. The Oracle was fairly ineffective on offense, although she was pretty good on defense. She's still alive. Where is she? 11 kills here, back home at the third base, playing defense, as she did most of the game. But great job, Emma Frost, surviving throughout the entire game. And then just a big swell of Adepts. Again, 37 at one point. Did end up losing 45. Lost 45 Adepts, 2 Stalkers, and 3 Sentries. I mean, really, it was a very, very heavy Adept play out of Neeb, and it worked out. It worked out in the end. Baneling Splashes did not enough damage for Nerchio. Tried to go for the Baneling Rain as a defensive mechanism. Not as strong, I think, as Nerchio hoped it would be. So let's move on here into game number 3, and we'll be back in just a second. Welcome back, StarCraft fans, to this best of 5 series between Nerchio and Neeb from the WESG 2016 Finals, cast by Falcon Paladin. Here in the top left side of Echo, the ladder edition, in game number 3 is Nerchio. And his opponent in the bottom right, currently tied up with his Zerg and Nemesis. It is the blue Protoss player. It is Neeb. Oh, some pretty good hard-fought games here in games 1 and 2. I'd have to say, no, neither of them were super long. Neither of them were incredibly back and forth, but definitely some good hits landed by both of these players. We will see if these players have what it takes to win game number 3. So I'm a big NBA fan. I love basketball, especially professional basketball. Not so much college, but pro basketball is a good one, as Neeb's trying to block this hatch first play out of Nerchio. But guess what? Extractor pool from Nerchio does have a drone here trying to chase this probe away, but this is not exactly the priority for Nerchio at this point. Anyway, there are best of 7 series in the playoffs in the NBA. Used to be best of 5 series in the earlier rounds. They got rid of those, but I feel like the stat is whichever team wins the 3rd game in a best of 5 or the 5th game in a best of 7 goes on to win the series more often than not. I don't think this has been corroborated in StarCraft 2 casting or tournament results. Neeb cancels that pylon at the last second. Almost finished that pylon. Would have lost 100 minerals for it, but instead only loses 25 because of the cancel refund. So yeah, again, I'm not saying whoever wins this game is going to win this series, but it's possible. There's like at least a 50% chance of that, right? Just because think about it, right? Especially if the series is tied. Like if Neeb wins this game, he's going to be up 2-1. He just needs to win 1 more of the next 2 games to win the series, while as Nerchio would have to win 2 straight, which is not easy. Not easy to take 2 straight off a player who is as good and accomplished as Neeb is, or vice versa. For Neeb to take 2 off of Nerchio in a row is just, it's a tall order. It's a lot to ask from somebody. Anyway, secondary hatch for Nerchio is coming up at the 3rd base location. Wasn't able to throw it down to the natural. Might put the 3rd base down there. And again, as I did in game 1, I'll probably call the base in the natural, and the base at the 3rd base the 3rd, even though that is not necessarily the order in which they were erected. As Sloverlord coming in. Do you erect a hatch? In the order they were morphed. They were morphed in. You guys, my phone is broken. My OnePlus 1 that I've had for a couple of years now has been a really great phone. I love it just because it doesn't come with carrier apps that you can't delete. I hate certain carriers that do that. But I must have dropped that thing 15 times and never once broken it. But then my 6-year-old son knocked it off the kitchen table last week and broke the screen, broke the glass, broke the LCD. And I was like, what? How is this possible? So it's dead. Like, touchscreen totally unresponsive, obviously. Went ahead and ordered a new phone, a OnePlus 2, and it was supposed to get here today, but no. It's going to be 3 more days, you guys, before I get my phone. Meanwhile, Adept here, trying to murder stuff at the 3rd base. Good drone pull, getting them out of there, and now the Adept is running, Speedling's running right by her. Not going to find her, which is probably just fine with the Adept. Ling's trying to get on up into the natural base here. Bunch of Lings. Only 3 can attack the Adept at a time. That's actually a lot. Another Adept comes in. Lings, can they get in? Lings get in. Trying to kill that Adept. They kill the Adept, and then now it's a scouting mission, what it is now. They know they can't kill much else with only 2 Lings, but getting a perfect scout off. Oh, they see the Twilight Council getting that upgrade, seeing the Resonating Glaives coming in. Likely that's what it's going to be, as Neeb had so much success with it early in game number 2, or late in game number 2. Anyway, the point is, my phone, the one that I'm using right now, is an old Galaxy Nexus that I had. If you remember my early casts, that's what I used to talk about. It came out in, I think, 2011. So, it's an old phone. It is struggling so much with the updated apps I'm trying to run on it right now. It's like a Facebook update and a Google Hangouts update and Gmail update and Instagram update, and it's just like I can run these things, but I'm gonna crash from time to time. Please bear with me. And I'm like, Galaxy Nexus, you're trying your best. All right, back to the game. Neeb marching on out with Adepts, with a couple Stalkers, trying to see what damage he can throw down against Nerchio. Nerchio's got 5 roaches in production. 5 roaches right now. Neeb is actually going for the 3rd while shading up to the natural base, or rather the main. So we'll keep an eye on these Adepts. Cancel that transfer. Nope, they don't cancel the transfer. They go right inside the main base. There's a Queen here. Some roaches at the same time. I feel like the Adepts could take down a Queen, but instead they're going right after drones. Really going after this drone count. It's a merry-go-round ride right now for these players, and then heading on out. Sanic transfer escaping is Neeb. They don't really want to deal with roaches. The problem is that roaches don't kill them very fast, but they don't kill roaches very fast either. It's kind of like a immovable rock versus unstoppable force. Let's see, a movable object versus unstoppable force play. That's what they call it. That's what they call it. Oracle here. Oh, there is an Oracle. All right, so this Oracle's name is Madame Web. If you've noticed a comic theme, it's because there's definitely a comic theme with the person that suggested all of these. Madame Web is a character appearing in Marvel Comics. First appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 210 in 1980. And she is, let's see, an elderly woman. And she never actually fights any villains because she's too old and kind of immobile. But she has gifted intellect, telepathy, clairvoyance, and precognition. So she's kind of somebody that Spider-Man goes to for advice, is what she's all about. And also apparently for killing roaches. That's something she enjoys doing as well. That's kind of a funny little animation there. But so Madame Web, we'll see how she does. We'll keep an eye on her throughout the rest of this game. Trying to get some shots off on these roaches. And I don't know, again, Adepts don't really want to engage here. They can Psionic Transfer past. Or some of them will Psionic Transfer past. One of the Adepts forgot to get the memo. Did not cancel that Psionic Transfer and is left to die to the Lings. Third base done for Neeb, which means Nerchio needs to go for a fourth base at some point. Charge on the way for Neeb being researched. Again, Adepts trying to do their thing. I think Nerchio learned. He learned from game number 2 that if you're going to see a lot of Adepts, roaches are probably better than Lings and Banelings in that situation. It's just Adepts don't do any extra damage versus them, which is super duper mega useful. I mean, look at that. It's 10 versus 22 damage versus Light for Adepts. It more than doubles their DPS against Light units. So Lings and Banelings, while good, right, if they can overwhelm the Adepts. If there are 60 Adepts, Roaches and Hydras are probably going to be a better choice, as a Hydralisk Den is coming in from Nerchio. A Void Ray under construction at the Stargate as well, or warping in rather. Again, you don't build them, you just warp them in from somewhere else. It's a small difference, but it's an important one, I would say. Trying to take a fourth base here is Nerchio, but not actually doing it. I guess he doesn't have the money for it right now. He's getting Glio Reconstitution. He's getting +1 missile attack. There is a drop Lord here at the third base. A lot of Lings possible to knock stuff down. He can't land them up here, right? That high ground is not droppable. It is not. Mothership Core here, just waiting for that drop to come in so that she can photon overcharge the crap out of those Lings. Possibly dropping in the main is not a bad idea either. But Void Ray coming in. You got to drop somewhere. And there it is. Here's the drop. Got to land those Lings because that Overlord is going to die. And it does. Only a couple Lings managed to get out, and they die pretty much immediately. Well done. Well defended by Neeb. Little anticlimactic for Drop Lord play. You don't see it very often, so when it happens, I want to see it succeed. But not that time. Not that time. Neeb getting Storm. Getting the Storms. Fourth base finally under Morphation. Is that a word? We'll say it. We'll say it is. Under Morphation here. Baneling Nest morphing in for Nerchio as well. Creep Spread looking okay. It's alright. I mean, this Creep Tumor is on cooldown. Well, it was on cooldown for just a second there, which means he's been using them. Yeah, pretty much on time. Has Nerchio. Excellent job. Madame Web here to gather intellect. Gather intelligence to be used for the Protoss race, and then get blown out of the sky by Hydralisks. Man, Hydralisks are so good at anti-air. So dang good. Warp Prism trying to sneak around this left side. 4 Zealots in the belly of the Warp Prism. A small group of Roaches and Hydras and Lings here at a staging ground just north of the third base, and they decide to head all the way back home. Are they worried about this Warp Prism? Possibly. Possibly worried about it, as guess what? There's nothing to defend this third base at all, except a Spore Crawler and a Queen, which is enough possibly. Oh, Hydra's here in the main base at the same time. This Warp Prism might be a little stuck. Might be a tiny bit stuck here. Not sure where it wants to go. There's a little tiny... Oh, it does get killed by the Queen and the Spore Crawler. Ouch. Ouch. 4 Zealots inside that Warp Prism. Drop play not been super successful for either of these players throughout this game number 3. A little bit unfortunate. Little tiny bit unfortunate. Getting a Lurker Den is Nerchio. All right, I do like Lurkers, unless there's a lot of Immortals on the ground for the Protoss, and I don't think that's what we're seeing here, as in fact there are 4... I don't know, by a lot, I'm thinking like 10 or 12. 10 or 12 Changelings coming over to check out this fourth base that Neeb is warping in. And checking the composition of what Neeb is rocking with. A lot of Templar with Storm Immortals. Got Archons here as well. +1 attack done for the Protoss player. Upgrades that are complete here. We can see, meanwhile, a big-time attack here at the third base. Some Hydras and Roaches left behind. Bringing some of these units back, though. I don't think he can stand toe-to-toe with his army is the problem. So Some of his units staying behind, a lot of them. Oh, splitting off to attack the 4th base. Oh, those army splits by Nerchio are just gorgeous right here. Just a beautiful play indeed. Has the high ground right on top of these Adepts. Adepts really good against Hydralisks, though. And Nerchio pulling back, just doing damage to the 3rd base and the 4th base. Not killing either one of them, however, but still saving most of his units alive. Does not just throw them away into the meat grinder that is Protoss. Ends up killing a bunch of those probes as well. Oh, only 3. Only 3 probe kills, huh? Great pull by Neeb in the face of all those attacks. Lurkers coming in for Nerchio. Immortal count stands at 6. Another one is on the way. Lings trying to come up here and kill what they can at the 3rd base. Hydras getting it off as well. Lurkers burrowing and getting those spines out. Neeb immediately retreating, recognizing you cannot attack into spines unless you attack into spines. Well, he's going for it. Guardian Shield, Immortals doing what they can. Storms on top of these Lurkers as well. Lurkers are falling very quickly. Wow, excellent job here. Storms chasing the Hydralisks as away at the same time. Lings trying to come and get his flank, but getting stasis warded. Nice stasis ward there by Neeb. He's got Lings sitting there for about 15 more seconds, trying to come up and assault the 4th base is Neeb, and nope, ready for that is Nerchio. Ready for that is Neeb. And trying to get some damage off, but he is losing Lurkers left and right. 12 Lurkers have been killed so far. Holy crap. 12 Lurkers? That's a lot of stuff. 10,000, 11,000 resources lost for the Zerg player. Only 8 or so for the Protoss. We do have a Ling run by here at the 3rd base, getting chased away by a warping of Zealots, as well as a Pylon with Photon Overcharge. Same story here at the 4th base. An Overlord is pooping Creep, which I find kind of hilarious. This Adept could shoo it off, but the Adept has other things to do, which is mainly standing around and looking very cool. Archons are probably the coolest looking unit in the game, right? They're just giant, scary balls of energy. Yep. Pretty awesome. Pretty darn awesome. Another Ling Hydra attack moving here at the 3rd base, and then thinking better of it is Nerchio. Nerchio is taking a 5th base now along this bottom left side. Revelation tossed down by an Oracle. This is not Madame Web, as she has died, but a replacement Oracle that Neeb has created in the memory of Madame Web. 181 to 164 total supply for Neeb. And just, feeling good. Again, anytime a Protoss gets Storm, I just get fuzzy feelings on the inside. I like their chances, especially against Zerg. So many of these units are low HP, especially the Hydralisks and the Lings, which is largely what Nerchio has. And Lurkers have a hard time storm dodging. So it's just a brilliant, brilliant choice here by Neeb, but I would not be shocked if that was a major factor in his victory if he were to win this game at number 3. However, Nerchio is expanding to a 6th base up along this top right side of the map. We're almost at the point where every base has been taken. We're getting there a little bit. Neeb does catch a smoke of Hydras out of position in the middle of the map and manages to murder them and attack up on the morphing in 5th base with the Immortals and the Archons. A lot of Lings, though, a lot of Hydras storming on top of the Lings, right on top of his own units to keep the Lings out of there. But Nerchio does manage to save that 5th base. An attack by Neeb with more Zealot Immortal Archon here at the 4th base. Can he save it? Can Nerchio save this one? He's going to try to do it, and yes, he is pushing the Protoss player away. Another great storm, though, walking through those storms a little bit. Here's Nerchio. You really can't do that. You really cannot do that. So the two split sides to Neeb's army are fairly similar, just a little more Zealot heavy for group number 2 here, as +2 attack has completed for the ground units for the Protoss player. +2 missile attack finished for Nerchio as well. A Fleet Beacon coming in for Neeb. All right, might see some carriers here in this game. Again, another attack here at the 5th base, and the Immortals do get it. +3 attack just finishing at that very minute here. Zealots getting right into the middle line of the 4th base of Nerchio. The Zealots are going to die thanks to Lurker and Hydra defense. But 17 dead drones in the last couple of seconds here for the Zerg player. Looking good. It is looking really good for Neeb right now. 55 to 75 harvesters. Another expansion down here in the bottom left for Neeb. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th base. For him, it is going to be 5th. It is 5 bases for Nerchio, but again, worker count about 20 more for the Protoss. Thus far in this game, Nerchio needs to make something happen, and he knows it. He's moving out with his +2 Hydralisks, going right after the 3rd. There are a couple cannons here, and a Templar, and Photon Overcharge. It's enough to force Nerchio back. Oh, Nerchio, I don't know about this. I don't know about running away at this point, but maybe he knows more than I do. Maybe this game is not quite over yet. Couple Lings and Hydras here at Neeb's. Again, warping in 5th base. Can he do it? A big time attack. Storm on top of the Hydras in the middle side of the map. Archons in the front doing so much damage. against these Hydralisks. Lings trying to come in from the left side, but again, Archon pretty good against Zerglings as it turns on out. Neeb does save his 5th base by sending a couple of Archons and Immortals to it to save it alive. Nerchio possibly going to try to kill it if he can. He's kind of dancing. He's dancing. He's indecisive is where he wants to go. Tempest on the way for Neeb. Interesting. Zealot attack. Oh no, Zealot attack at Nerchio's 6th base here in the top right. A lot of +3 Zealots with charge are very scary, but most of the army for Nerchio is here, so the Zealots will die. The base will be saved. Neeb kind of dancing around the middle of the map as well. Not quite sure where he wants to go. Drones getting killed again. 29 drones killed, only 10 probes lost so far in this game. Lings running left. Hydralisks morphing into lurkers here on the top right. Both players, again, just taking stances, not holding still, mind you. APM still really good as there's a Ling run by here to try to take down this 5th base of Neeb's, but the Oracles are in the sky just eating those Zerglings up for lunch, eating them directly for lunch. APM over 300 for both of these players, 310 for Nerchio, 307 for the Neebster. Is he patrolling? Nerchio's army is just kind of, they're swarming is what they're doing. He's playing this almost visually in a very Zergy style, where he's just got doesn't stop moving as a very consistent movement here as well. I guess that's another way to say the exact same thing. Tempest out. I guess maybe Tempest for the Lurkers, but Lurkers burrowing in a nice concave here. Hydra's getting a flank on the left side against this Protoss force and pulling back. Pulling back a little bit is Neeb. The Lurkers getting the heck on out of there as well. Lurkers unsupported, not good. Do not just make Lurkers, Zerg players. You got to have some Hydras and some Roaches to assist as well. 30 Lings in production for Nerchio. Neeb is maxed out right now. 200 to 170 total supply. Hydras, Lurkers trying to move down to assault this 5th base of Neeb, but there are cannons. There are Archons here. Oh no, the 6th base explodes. An Immortal hit squad goes and takes that down, led by an Immortal with 16 kills. Nerchio needs to make something happen here at this 5th base. A lot of Hydras here. Again, that +2 attack doing immensely well. Full pull of probes here, walking right into some Hydras and some Lings, though. A lot of dead probes. So many dead probes. 30 dead probes there. Where was the army? Neeb choosing not to save it, pulling back to save his own 5th base. No, his 4th base, rather. That is his 4th here in the middle side of the map. Nerchio trying to get some work done and is going to retreat. Nerchio trying to replace his 5th base that has died earlier in this game. The Tempest doing very, very well against these Lurkers. 5th base canceled by the drone. 5th base canceled. 6th base being replanted by Nerchio, re-morphing in there. So Neeb finds himself on 4 bases at 17 minutes into the game, which is not ideal. Not ideal for a professional Protoss player, that is for sure. So it's a Ling Hydra Lurker play. Continued Revelation being tossed down on these Zerg units. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous decision here by Neeb to know exactly where those Lurkers are. He can see them even when they're burrowed if they are revealed. And here we go, moving in with a lot of Tempest in the sky right now. Storm on top of all of the Hydras. As we can see here, Hydras are forced to pull back in the face of that storm. Now going for it, but again, pulling back is Neeb, being very patient. Very patient right now. Lurker Spine's coming up. Storm's right on top of those Lurkers, killing one of them with that splash damage ability. Can he get there is the question of the day. Every time the Hydras come in, they get stormed. And they are getting some damage off. They do kill a Tempest. Tempest just have a lot of HP is what they've got. More Revelation being thrown down by those Oracles. Those sneaky, sneaky Oracles. Trying to get a nice concave here is Nerchio coming in with Hydras from the left and the right side, but forced to pull back. Forced to pull back right now. 175 to 126 total supply. Tempest with +2 attack. How does he have +2 air attack? I don't know, but that's it. A good game. Good game out of Nerchio. Nerchio is defeated and Neeb is victorious. Oh. Neeb going, I mean, what? Archon, Immortal, Templar. That was hugely important for him. Zealot, Tempest with Oracle support. They're in that final battle. Nerchio at the end of the game only had 15 Hydras and 4 Lurkers remaining, recognizing he couldn't get it done against this, especially with these upgrades. Look at that. +2/+2 with the shield upgrade being at +2 for Neeb. Don't see that a lot, but it helped him. Helped him immensely in this game. A lot of dead Lurkers in this game, you guys. A lot. 20 dead Lurkers. 14 dead Archons, though. 84 murdered Hydralisks. 287 dead Lings. 72 dead Zealots. And yet, again, very hard fought. Neeb takes the all-important game number 2, or number 3, to lead 2-1. Let's come back with game number 4 in just a second. Welcome back, StarCraft fans, to this best of 5 series between Neeb and Nerchio here on Overgrowth, the Ladder Edition. Oh, nope, Nerchio has 1, Neeb has 2. And let's introduce these players again. In the bottom left side of Overgrowth, we have the blue Protoss player. It is Neeb. And in the top right side of the map, we have the red Zerg player. It is Nerchio. So Neeb's up 2-1. He won that all-important game number 3 here in this best of 5. Holy shamoly, Neeb's going to have to win the next 2 games to win this series. And hey, I know what you're saying. There's a lot of time left. A lot of time left on this cast, Falcon Paladin, but you know what? I've been known to use anti-spoiler screens in the past. I've been known to tack on some extra time to the end of these videos, especially these best of 5s and best of 7s. So you will not know. You will not know who wins these next couple games. I can promise you that. You have no idea. Expansion by Nerchio. Again, just not dealing with Neeb's shenanigans. Throwing down his expansion hatchery at the 3rd base location and then just taking his natural whenever he needs to. It's a good move. It's a good move that everybody should really be able to mimic. I mean, it doesn't take a whole ton of skill. It's just good decision making. Is what it is. Out of Nerchio. Extractor pool there as well. Probe by Neeb doing the super annoying mineral steal play here. Because if there is a worker actively gathering on a mineral patch, then other workers will not come and try to take minerals from it. So as you can see, Neeb is actually keeping this from being mined for a good couple seconds there. And again, you're saying, what is the big deal? It's only for maybe 20 seconds, but at this level of play where both players have beat each other already in this series, it could make a big difference. It can make a very big difference for sure. Protoss player walling off at the natural base back home. Cyber Core. Looks like the 1-gate expand here. Second assimilator coming in after that Cyber Core is warping in. And another pylon coming in as well to avoid being supply blocked. It's a pretty good opener, very standard, very safe. Don't have to worry much as a Protoss doing this. Probe heading home, recognizing that pool finished. There are lings on the way. Not a lot of lings, but enough to kill me if I stick around. And 3rd hatch, nope, just moving again. Moving those drones over. Transferring them to his 3rd base, or to his natural base, again, because it came up not naturally. I don't know. Not really the natural. If it's in the natural base location, we can call it the natural, but then... why don't they just expand in the correct orders? It makes it so much easier for us casters. And there it is, 2nd Nexus here immediately brings those probes back to the natural Nexus, not letting them go all the way back to the main. Just the little things that make the difference at this level of StarCraft 2. There it is, natural base coming in for Nerchio, single adept moving out for Neeb. The first 3 games have been pretty similar in this regard, and first 4 games now, where this single adept that comes out tries to do some harassment, tries to kill some stuff, queens do some DPS, slowlings do some DPS, and eventually maybe the adept gets a kill or 2, but in the end is not super duper effective. It's just she's really here just to force lings out of Nerchio, so we can't just drone up like a madman for the first couple of minutes, and then Sonic transfers out. See, 2 kills. Did manage to kill 2 lings. That will force Nerchio to make a couple more here, although maybe not. Maybe that is not the case. He's just droning, making 6 drones at once. That will put him up to, what's he looking at here, about 35 over 32 versus Neeb. Robotics facility coming in for the Protoss player as well, and getting a Dark Shrine. So we're going to see some more of this Archon drop harassment out of the Warp Prisms. I keep wanting to say harassment, but I'm not British enough to pull that off, so I might stop. I might stop, and then I might not. It's pretty late. It is pretty late in the evening for Falcon Paladin, I can tell you that much. Lings here, Speedlings, here at a potential 4th base for Neeb, or 3rd base for Neeb, trying to see if they can prevent that from happening, or at least scout the timing on it, I suppose. Dark Shrine takes forever to build. 71 in-game seconds is forever, you guys. I know it's not forever, but it feels like it's forever. Just like Spire. Spire constructions are very slow as well. Roach Warren on the way for Nerchio, getting a lair at the same time, putting that lair in his main base. Was it in game 2 that his lair was sitting at his 3rd base location? It was weird. It was a weird choice, and he lost it, which is probably why he put it more safely inside his main, which is usually the last base to die, it turns out, in these games of StarCraft 2. Warp Prism heading up north just past the Zelnig Watchtower that Nerchio was not holding, so he does not see this coming. Although, has he scouted anything? Not really. Hasn't scouted much. Has no idea what's coming here, but these are one of the options, or this is one of the options. with this DT Archon play. Ready, Neeb, go. You have enough. There we go. Warping in the DTs 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fourth is a tiny bit later than his friends, but whatevs. Third Nexus coming up for Neeb, and that is scouted by this Overlord in great position right between the third and the natural bases. Archons coming in, picked up by that Warp Prism. Again, that extended range for pickup was a nice buff. Nice buff for these Warp Prisms. Roaches on the ground. Is it enough here? Roaches trying to get shots off on the Archons, and actually the Archons doing pretty well, trying to split the Roaches and avoid that splash damage play as Nerchio does fairly well for himself. Loses a couple of Roaches in the process, 2 of them, but does force the Warp Prism back. Roaches dying is a lot better than drones and queens dying for Nerchio at this point. Queen really just wants to kill the Warp Prism. Again, that extra range helpful here, but Archon chasing her back as well. Great pickup, great save on the Archon. Lings catching a couple of these Adepts coming up to the third base. They got on the creep, which means they were detected, which means they got murdered by Speedlings. If you're going to do that with Adepts, you got to be sneakier about it or have more Adepts is what you got to have there for Neeb. Sometimes, who goes by Neeblet. Fourth base being constructed and morphed in by Nerchio here at the gold base. Archon's killing creep tumors fairly well with the observer support. Observer seer support. I was trying to say both of those at once and it got very confused inside my mouth. Immortals coming up for Neeb as well, and again, the harassment by Neeb's pretty much the only damage we've seen in this game so far. Neeb's been allowed to do whatever he wants back home. Lings and Roaches and Ravagers here getting saved. The Archons are getting saved here, but they're taking damage every time they get outside of that Warp Prism. Nerchio really wants to knock down this debris that separates his first 3 bases from his 4th base. Again, it makes sense. He wants an easier access route to defend that gold base if it comes under attack, and he'll get there eventually. It's just this debris has 3 armor and 2,000 hit points. And there we go. Finally does manage to get it as well. Archon, 8 and 6 kills, respectively. Changelings come into the Zelnug Watchtower to see exactly what is going on, and immediately get murdered by an Archon. But at least Nerchio knew where those Archons were for about a split second. Anyway, Templar Archives coming up here for Neeb. A Warp Prism trying to sneak inside the main base. Queen stabbing at that Warp Prism again, but it's just not enough. The shields have regenerated and still not getting into that hull damage, which is exactly what Nerchio wants to do in that situation. At 71 to 69 Harvesters, Neeb is definitely doing very well in the macro style of things. Only 2 down versus his opponent, but Nerchio has this gold base, which is going to be a problem. Going to be a problem for Neeb unless he can shut it down here. He is getting Storm, which again, Storm is great. I think Neeb lost game 2, even though he went for Storm. Was it game 2 or game 1? Game 1, he went for Storm and lost. That's what it was. So, I mean, it's not a guaranteed win, but it is really good. Really good nonetheless, especially against Zerg. Warp Prism Archon drops, killing a slow Overlord along the left side after killing a couple drones at the main base. It's really just keeping Nerchio inside his own creep confines, is what this Archon stuff is doing for Neeb. It's letting him sit back and do whatever he wants back home, letting his Templar build up energy, getting more Immortals, which do take forever to build off of 1 robotics facility. He's not double pumping them because, again, he does have a lot of gas being dedicated towards these Templar and that Storm upgrade. So Nerchio might be moving out for the first time at 8 minutes into this game, which just seems a little slow. Hydra's catching that Warp Prism on the left side. Oh, left side Warp Prism killed. Did those Archons die? Archons are not dead. Where are they? Did he drop them off back home? He did. He dropped them off back home to assist with the killing of the debris, so that Neeb, I think, could take his 5th base at the gold. His 4th base is actually in the bottom right side of the map at the blue mineral selection. All right, Stargate in production for Neeb, likely going to be for an Oracle. He likes using those in the mid-game, not so much for the early game harass, but mid-game stuff. Hydras and Roaches here, getting a flanker on the right side. Hydralisks and Ravagers. Good Storm causing a split on Nerchio's units, walking through the storms a little bit here. As well, these Immortals trying to do what they can. Stutter stepping home, Guardian Shield up, protecting them from some of the damage from these Roaches and these Hydralisks, but no Immortals are dying. Archon gets focused down and exploded as well. Photon Overcharge trying to defend here at the natural base, coming right up the ramp. Good spread of Hydras, but Zealots coming in, doing a great job at the same time. Immortals trying to stutter step backward, but look at this. Nerchio continuing to press his advantage. Can they get some Mothership Core? No. They wanted to catch some Mothership Core, and they could not. Hydralisks here with +1 attack, taking down the robotics facility. That's why I don't like walling off with big production buildings as Protoss and Terran. Another great storm all over these Hydralisks. More Zealots coming in. Hydra count is not falling as fast as you would expect in this situation. Mothership Core needs to get focused down, and she is not. Going after the Immortals instead. More Zealots warping in, but reinforcing Hydras coming in as well, and that is it. A good game out of Neeb. Neeb is defeated, and Nerchio is victorious here in game number 4. Whoa. All right, so we tied it up. 2-2, you guys. We're moving into a game 5 rubber match. The winner takes all. The winner is the victor here in this best of 5 series from WESG 2016 finals. Again, Nerchio just managed to kind of get Hydras up. Got Hydras up. The storms were good, but the splits by Nerchio, I think, were a little tiny bit better. He did end up losing 29 Hydras, which is a lot of Hydras, but in the end still had 18, whereas Neeb had exactly a Mothership Core to defend with. So just continued to push forward, really withstood the Archon harassment that Neeb threw upon him in the first 8 minutes of the game, and then just said, I have my Hydras, I have some Ravagers, I have some Lings, let's do this thing. And he went. Actually lost 18 Roaches. That's more than I thought. More than I thought. All right, so that was game number 4. Let's move into game number 5, coming up in just a second. Welcome back, StarCraft fans, to this best of 5 series between Nerchio and Neeb, culminating in game number 5 here on Daybreak, the ladder edition. Let's get that set up real quick. 2 games to 2. In the top right side of Daybreak, the ladder edition, we have the blue Protoss player currently tied with his opponent. It is Neeb. And in the bottom left side of the map, we have the red Zerg player tied with his opponent as well. It is the red Zerg player, Nerchio. All right, so here we are. Both players having won 2 games against their opponent in a best of 5, which means whoever wins in the next whatever minutes this is going to take is our victor here in the WESG 2016 finals. Hoorah! All right, so let's see if we see anything different in game 5. Do you switch up your strategies if you're Nerchio? Maybe. He's going Extractor Pool instead of Hatch First, which he has done in the vast majority of the games thus far. However, Neeb, I don't think, wants to change it up. Oh no! He's going Nexus first. He's going Nexus first while Nerchio's going for the old Extractor Pool opening. Probe comes in to scout this out. Says, what up? Oh, it's an early pool. I don't know. How do you respond to this if you're Neeb? Immediately throws down a gateway to start walling this off. That is just a giant area to wall off here at the natural base. So difficult. So difficult to pull off here. Nerchio does get his natural base down. Probe decides to head on home. And again, Protoss players, if you want to go Nexus first and you find out your opponent opened with a pool pretty early as Zerg, let's see what Neeb does here. Let's see what he decides to do. He didn't cancel the Nexus, that's for sure. So he is going to obviously throw down a Cybernetics core. You can't hold any early Ling pressure with just Adepts is the problem here. He is going double gateway though. I guess maybe for the larger area that it will block off. Cybercore is a little bit smaller than gateways. And Cybercore now, trying it. There it is. There's the Cybercore now. All right, so is that a full wall is the question. I think maybe he needs to make a Zealot to hold that line. Don't see one coming out quite yet. But again, Neeb just very calmly walls this off. Recognizes any Lings that get here will be slow Lings and they will take their time. So excellent job there. Can the probe get through that? Oh, shoot. That's not a full wall. That is not a full wall. The probe says that's not a full wall. I'm going to help to hold it. And look at this. Neeb not even bothering to make a Zealot here. This is very interesting. Very interesting indeed. The Ling's actually just holding the Zelnog Watchtower, not going for any scouting or harassment at all. Strangely enough. And you know what? Making a Stalker and an Adept. Yeah, I mean, Neeb, I think he did what you're supposed to do. Obviously, just wall off as best you can, make some units. Just know that Nerchio can't get any Speedlings out, or at least until the 3-minute mark. Even with the Extractor Pool opening here. Third hatch coming up for Nerchio as well, so not going for a crazy 2-base all-in scenario, getting Overlord speed though. But still, just wanted, I don't know, wanted to be ready for early harassment, wanted to be ready maybe for a cannon rush from Neeb. Neeb has been known to do those in the past. Although, again, it's not super popular. Is he supply blocked? Neeb. Ah! Neeb is supply blocked. 3 seconds to go. Pylon warps in, and there it is. There are his Adepts coming out, but not for a while. Not for a while, as it turns out. Speed Overlords, that is the reason you get this upgrade early. Moving right into the main base. One heading up into the natural base as well to see exactly what is up. And for Neeb, it is Resonating Glaives. That's a huge tell. A huge tell for the Zerg player, saying these are going to be Adepts. A lot of Adepts with good DPS against my Lings. Roach Hydra going to be a better answer here than a Ling Baneling type strategy. So we'll see if Nerchio read this correctly. Again, he's a great Zerg player from Poland and Euronics Gaming. Just, I can't say that enough. It is good to represent and recognize the teams these players come from in the countries that they love. Speedlings here at the potential third base for Neeb saying, is there any probes want to wander down here? We're okay with that. We're okay with any probes that maybe want to take a nice stroll down this way and warp in a nexus, because we will murder you. We will murder you in the face and take your lunch money. And some adepts coming down to escort the probe. Actually, 5 adepts coming down. That's enough. The Ling's like, all right, maybe we can kill the probe anyway, even though we're getting shot at. Nope. Nope, too many adepts. Nexus warps in peace. Probe took some shots, but says, thanks. Thank you, my adept sisters, for saving my life. And the adepts say, you got it. No problemo. 7 roaches in production for Nerchio. Think he learned his lesson. Game 1. Nope, game 2 was that mass adept play. Speed Overlord getting killed here in the natural base. And Nerchio went for that Ling Baneling stuff. It didn't work. Did not work very well against adepts with resonating glaives when there were like 60 of them. So, the next time Neeb went for mass adept, we did see the Roach Hydra play, which is exactly what Nerchio is going for now. Getting a lair, holding with roaches for now. Adepts fast, especially with Psionic Transfer. Gonna try to Psionic Transfer up to this third base where there is a single drone. Might actually die, but roaches are coming up to save it. Roaches coming up to defend at the same time, getting some splits off and trying to get a bit of a surround. Yeah, the adepts unable to kill any drones whatsoever and canceling that Psionic Transfer and just deciding to head on back home, recognizing Nerchio is doing a great job zoning him out. So it's not really worth it to get in there. There are going to be Lings, there are going to be more and more roaches coming out. The longer this goes, the more it helps the Zerg player because of defender's advantage. And Neeb is not sending any reinforcements across the map. So third base just now popping into existence. Immediately chrono boosting out some probes. Robotics facility coming up at the third base as well. I'm not a huge fan, again, of putting big-time technological production facilities on your outskirts. At the front lines, at your third base or fourth base here. Ling Roach here. Oh, this is not what you want to see if you're Neeb. Ling Roach doing a lot of work on these adepts, killing a couple of them before they can Psionic Transfer out. About 5 of them do make it into the main base, but they are getting chased by Lings. Queens stabbing away as well. One of them is killed immediately. Roach is trying to comb on in here. Drones forced to stop mining here at the main base for a while. And there's the transfer with the adepts again to the third base. Drones actually trying to get a surround on the adepts and assisting a little bit, but losing a ton of drones in the process. I don't know about that. I don't know about that from Nerchio. 9 drones killed, 53 to 65 harvesters. Neeb looking good. Looking good. Fourth base on the way from Nerchio. Creep spreading across the map as he does like to do. With that creep spread, Hydralisk Den morphing in here inside the main base. Nice and safe and sound. Drop Lord action here from Nerchio, dropping a bunch of Lings, 7 Lings to be exact, inside the main base of Neeb. Unloading just on the very edge here. And there they go, moving right into this mineral line, exactly where they need to be. The reaction time by Neeb is insane, though. Immediately popping in some zealots, but no, it's a slow warping of a zealot. Not touching a nexus or a gateway, that hurts. Coming into the natural base. Instead, Lings finding easier pickings in this location and actually killing a few probes, 5 of them to be exact. Try to pick off the ones getting gas. Excellent decision, as I've always said on this channel. Killing the workers on gas is a great decision and will pay for itself very quickly indeed. Mothership Core picks off the final Ling and information acquisition complete for Nerchio, as well as killing some workers. So it's now at 67 to 67 workers. Nerchio is even with his Protoss enemy, frenemy. I don't know. These guys know each other? Maybe. +1 missile attack is done on these roaches and hydras. And more Ling stuff here, but double photon overcharge inside the main, enough to shoo them away. I don't think they killed any probes on this particular attempt. Where does Neeb have? Where's his army? Here it is. Here it is. +1 attack done on this ground army. A lot of zealots. 3 immortals and a sentry moving up, taking the right Zelnanga watchtower, then tapping it, backing on out. Hallucinated Phoenix scouting this bottom attack path towards Nerchio's base and seeing there's not much here. Not much here whatsoever. Trying to take a 4th nexus. There is a creep being pooped here by Nerchio's overlord, though. Hey, the probe says, you guys, if you have a second, sentries come over, kill this overlord for me. No, it'd be, oh, stalkers. How about stalkers? Can you just, hey, guys, I need to... Neeb, you need to kill this overlord. Get it now. Why are you not... There we go. Pulling a couple stalkers off. to kill this Overlord. Probe says, thanks, guys. I asked for your help like 8 hours ago in game time. Bunch of drop lords moving out for Nerchio. This is interesting. Is it going to be a feint? Is it a feint? Zealot warping, though, here in the main base of Nerchio. Picking up and getting out of there are those warp prism. Single warp prism, though. Yeah, this is a feint by Nerchio. There's nothing in these Overlords, but it's actually forcing Neeb to throw down cannons, to get Zealots up, to send some of his army back as well. I think he's trying to fake it so he can attack this 4th base, but I don't know that Neeb is buying it. Neeb has most of his army defending this 4th base. He's sending the drop lords in here. Is there going to be a big warp in by Neeb? Photon overcharge is coming up. And there's nothing. There's nothing here. The army coming in to take out the 4th base. But again, defending well with Storm is Neeb. Amazing concave on these Hydras, though. Getting out of the storms fairly well. Another huge storm coming in. Lings, force fields, trying to keep the Zerg out of this place. But the 4th base, I think, is going to die. And it does end up getting killed. Oh, no, not even a cancel there. Amazing continued use of Storm, though. Are the Templars out? No! Not out! As it turns out, an Archon comes in and immediately explodes. What a sad existence for that Archon. Hydra's Lings trying to push forward. This is very much like the last game, ladies and gentlemen. But 4th base is destroyed. Zealot warping here at the main base as well. They have charge. They have +2 attack, but eventually they succumb to Hydralisks. Not without taking a few with them and killing a bunch of drones in the process. 64 to 74 total harvesters, but it is 4 bases to 3 bases. Nerchio has a nice lead. Killing that base was a good feather in his cap. +1 missile attack done. +2 missile attack just about to complete for the Nerchio. Getting lurkers as well. Only time we saw lurkers was in game number 3. And that was very Neeb 1, as it turns out here. All right, coming in from the right side, Hydras. Hydras from the bottom side as well. Coming up to threaten this 4th base. Amazing concave here by Nerchio. No storms going down. He just forces a cancel on the 4th base. Neeb doesn't even try to save it. Does he not have enough for Storm? He just got enough for Storm on these Templar. The timing. That's what in the StarCraft 2, 4 seconds can be such a difference in these games. Tech switching to Aspire is Nerchio right now, trying to assault this 3rd base, but some Zealots coming in, Stalkers, Immortals as well. None of those things are very good against Hydralisks, as it turns out. So good choice here by Nerchio to continue with these guys. 5 lurkers in production. It's 154 to 135 total supply. Neeb needs that 4th base. A 5th base under construction by Nerchio in the top left as well. Oh, man. Is Nerchio going to do this thing? He's looking like he might. 2 games in a row against Neeb. Again, not an easy thing to do. Lurkers spining in very hard against these units. And run! The Immortals are here. Lurkers getting out. More Lurkers on the ground getting killed. Storms again. The MVPs of these matches for Neeb. Can he get their Immortals focusing down Lurkers? They die so quickly. And then Storms on top of the Hydras when they come to defend their Lurker brethren. I assume Lurkers are dudes. I don't know why. Actually, I'm not sure that Zergs in general are male or female, with the exception of Queens possibly just being female. I don't know. Why am I assuming Zerg's gender? Why am I doing that? 10 Hydras in production. Neeb is managing to hold fairly well, but he's a little bit contained right now. A little bit contained on 3 bases. Meanwhile, the Zerg player's 6th base, or 5th base rather, has popped. It's ready to go. No big deal. Extra production facilities and mining facilities for the Zerg are here. Lurker, Hydra, Ling. Lurker, Hydra, Ling. Lurker, Hydra, Ling is what Nerchio was going for. +1 melee attack is complete. Greater Spire on the way from Nerchio. Okay, so that's what he's doing with that Spire. Getting some Corruptors as well. Just trying to contain Neeb on 3 bases and then come at him with, I'm going to assume, Broodlords. Because there's really nothing else you can do with a Greater Spire. There's really no way to get around that. Trying to come up this ramp for these Hydras. There are some Zealots and Immortals and an Archon here defending the natural base, but it's going to be a pincer movement is the question. Neeb has some of his army at the bottom, some of his army at that high ground, and Nerchio just gets out of both of it. Just escapes the trap, pulls back home a different way, and might actually allow Neeb to throw down that 4th here. Neeb is feeling a little bit cautious, killing some creep tumors as the creep is spreading almost to his potential 4th base right now, which is never a good feeling. Actually, just taking his 4th in the bottom right is what he's doing. Ling's trying to get a run by, but guess what? Zealots are here! The Zealots are here to stop this. Lings just get a scout off, say, all right, so there is, in fact, a base here. There are no Lings in this mineral field quite yet. Another attack up here with Archons and Stalkers. +3 attack on these dudes. And Zealots finding Nerchio's 5th base. Can they take it on before the army responds? Yes, the answer is going to be yes. There's no saving, and Nerchio loses the 5th base. Oh, incredible play there by Neeb. All the zealots will die. He doesn't actually care. Neeb does not give a single care. Broodlords coming in. If Nerchio can hang on until these Broodlords pop, I think he's going to be okay. But double storm on his Hydras. Broodlord's very, very close from popping. I'm pretty sure Neeb can see that right now. He is making a Stargate. In response, he needs Tempest, and he needs them bad because the Broodlords are ready to pop, and there they are popping onto the field. Great storms on the Hydras has continued. Psionic Storm ability out of our Protoss player. There's a Drop Lord pooping creep here on Neeb's 4th. I'm not sure how much Neeb actually cares. It's annoying, and it's disgusting, but it doesn't actually stop Neeb from doing anything that he wants to do, as it turns out. All right, Hydras, Lurkers on the ground. Broodlords coming in very slowly. They are siege units. They are very good, but they are very slow as well. Oracle coming. Neeb making an Oracle. Why not Tempest? I guess he needs a fleet beacon for that, as it turns out. There we go. Broodlords throwing it down. Storm right on the Broodlords, though. Can't get in there to assist. The blanket storms on everything, trying to split up these Broodlords. They are all very low on HP. All of them are gone except for 2 Lurkers spining on in. Last Broodlord is... No, one more Broodlord does remain, but Neeb pushing through. Oh, pushing through. The Broodlords were undefended there. Why? Why? Neeb coming. Zealots from the top side as well. Here it's 155 to 100 total supply. Hydras trying to defend here at his 4th base. Is it going to be enough? Is the question of the day. And no, a smiley face from Nerchio, and he leaves the game. Neeb is victorious and taking the series 3 games to 2. In a very, very, very clutch moment there. Neeb able to deal with a Hydra Lurker Broodlord composition using nothing but Immortals, Stalkers, and Storm. I guess there was an Archon there too. I suppose there was an Archon in that battle, but holy shimoli. I think Nerchio did have his Broodlords up a little bit too far. It was weird because they were lagging behind. Then it came back to them. Suddenly they were in the front, not being really defended by much of anything. The Lurkers are too far away to engage. Nerchio's positioning definitely fell apart there in that battle, but that's all it was. I mean, he had the right composition, he had the right macro, he had the right decision-making, but positioning, one aspect of StarCraft 2, the positioning is what killed him in that final battle, and he was able to win something that, I mean, honestly, I don't know that he should have been able to do based on the number of Broodlords that were there. I mean, 6 Broodlords in the sky, ton of Lurkers and Hydras on the ground. Yes, the blanket storms were excellent. Neeb played that as well as he possibly could. But again, sometimes just putting something out of position enough to lose a game and lose a best of 5 series as well. Ugh, ouch, that hurts. That hurts for Nerchio, but that's nice. That's a nice feeling there for Neeb. All right. Oh, so that's going to be it from me. This was a great best of 5 between Nerchio and Neeb from the WESG 2016 Finals. I hope you enjoyed what you saw here today. If this is your first time watching a cast from Falcon Paladin, thanks for sticking it out to the end. I really appreciate that. And let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. So that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin with yet another daily Legacy of the Void upload and yet another best of series on this channel. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit the subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.